This week, an off-duty NYPD officer shot dead in a Bronx apartment. Plus, a violent stabbing on a Brooklyn subway platform. And the suspected Gilgo Beach killer makes his first appearance in court.
He said from the moment I met him that I did not do this.
Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. Here are the crimes across the 5 boroughs. We begin this week in Brooklyn, where a beloved dancer is stabbed to death at a gas station.
Friends and neighbors of 28-year-old O'Shea Sibley are mourning their loss and remembering this man who brought so much joy to their lives. And they're wondering how an argument here at this gas station could turn deadly on Saturday night. Now, police are investigating as a possible hate crime as they search for the suspect or suspects. Around 11 Saturday night at the Mobil station on Coney Island Avenue and Avenue P, a group of shirtless men in shorts and swimsuits pumping gas and dancing were confronted by other men who police sources say shouted anti-gay comments at them. The confrontation turned physical, and during the fight, police say 28-year-old O'Shea Sibley, a professional dancer and activist, was stabbed to death.
That's a life lost over a simple thing. They could have just argued, they could have talked and just left. You didn't have to bring the violence in.
We went to Sibley's Brownsville neighborhood. This resident named Lily tells me he did errands for everyone, often buying them breakfast, and made them all smile.
He's so sad. He's love everybody. Everybody, everybody in the block.
Lily says every time she'd see him, he was dancing.
I don't want to keep talking about it because I don't want to cry.
The confrontation moved away from the pump area and went around the corner near a bus stop. The vicious murder is sending shockwaves through Brooklyn and making some men here feel uneasy.
I may not be open like O'Shea and them, but I'm going to still live. I'm still going to be myself. And I'll die doing it, but I'm going to be myself.
Now, the victim, O'Shea Sibley, was originally from Philadelphia, where he had performed and been a member of the prominent dance company, the Philadelphia Dance Company. He moved here to Brooklyn about 2019 and has since performed at Lincoln Center. Now, police are asking anyone with information to call 1-800-577-TIPS if you have any information. And remember, that is confidential.
Next in the Bronx, an off-duty NYPD cop is found dead in an apparent murder-suicide.
We begin with breaking news out of the Soundview section of the Bronx, where police are investigating a possible murder-suicide involving an off-duty NYPD officer and his father. Fox 5's Antoine Lewis joins us live from the scene. Antoine, what have you learned?
Natasha, we first want to acknowledge this solemn scene behind me. I'm going to step out of the way because what you're seeing is this gathering of NYPD police officers in uniform, out of uniform, baseball uniforms, which we'll explain in just a moment. What's going on right now is that they are waiting for both victims' bodies to be brought out of this building, bodies that include one of their own.
The first 911 call started coming in around 12:45. Police say an off-duty NYPD officer and his father were both found inside an apartment with gunshot wounds to the head. Both were pronounced dead on scene. Police say a weapon and shell casings were recovered from the unit. Authorities quickly blocked off the area as investigators started to arrive. And family members as well. Neighbors identified this woman as an aunt and this woman as the officer's sister-in-law. Residents say it was she who found both victims. We spoke to one of the woman's friends who tried to console her.
It's really bad.
Have you been crying? Your eyes are red.
Well, I feel so sorry for her, so yeah, I've been feeling bad for her.
The NYPD says the off-duty officer was part of a recreational baseball team with other law enforcement. When he failed to show up for a game today, his fellow officers got worried and tried to check on him, getting concerned when they were unable to reach him.
Police have not released the identifications. As for the officer, we can't tell you what we've learned out here at the scene. He's been on the force for about 5 years. He worked with the NYPD Bronx narcotic unit, and he was also on track, from what we understand, to become a detective. We also are hearing that he was assigned to the 34th precinct. Again, we're still waiting for the victims to come out, but that's what this solemn gathering is in back of me.
Down at City Hall, Mayor Adams and Governor Hochul lay out their plan for tackling gun violence.
This is the city and state plan to invest $500 million in an effort to prevent gun violence. Ashley Rodriguez was there. She's live at City Hall to break all of this down for us. Hi, Ashley.
So this announcement was about investing in communities that have been historically underinvested in. They're going to start by focusing on 6 precincts in the Bronx and Brooklyn that make up 25% of the city's gun violence. So they're going to throw $485 million on boosting a number of goals, including youth employment, especially 18 to 24-year-olds, making sure that they are getting jobs, getting kids mental health resources, improving their housing security, and improving these communities' relationships with the police. The state is also going to help the city with stopping the flow of illegal guns into the city. They're calling it a blueprint for community safety. The plan was born out of 18 months of work by the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force, using feedback from 1,500 residents and 800 kids. The focus is to ensure public safety is not about locking up the criminals. It's about preventing kids from becoming criminals.
You can't sit in the ivory tower. You can't be so detached in the sterilized environment of City Hall. The dirt and grime is on the street. And I see it. I saw it. And it empowered me to bring together my administration. We have to start the process of ending this violence.
So the mayor said that he's going to measure how these 6 precincts are doing. And if there's a decrease in crime, that's how he knows this program is effective. He also said that this program should help curtail the random acts of violence that we're seeing throughout the city. But he does admit it is a big city. There is going to be random acts of violence. And he wanted to reiterate that he believes that the city is safer under him than it was under Giuliani and what he called his draconian policies. But of course, Antoine, with plans like this, they're very hard to gauge as to whether they're going to be a waste of taxpayer dollars or they're actually going to be effective. It's one of those things where we're going to have to wait and see.
Back to Brooklyn. The search is on for the suspects in a violent subway stabbing in Flatbush.
Police are searching for 2 men wanted in a subway stabbing in Queens.
That's right. Investigators released photos of the suspects in the Q train attack. Police say the men got into some kind of argument with a 39-year-old victim late Saturday night as the train approached the Church Avenue station. Officials say the 2 men punched the victim several times in the face and body, and then one of them stabbed him twice in the stomach with some kind of unknown object. The victim was taken to the hospital in stable condition. If you have any information about these individuals here on your screen, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers, 1-800-577-TIPS.
Over in Manhattan, a woman is violently attacked and robbed in an elevator in Kips Bay.
Police are looking for a suspect who attacked a woman in an elevator in Kips Bay.
It happened Saturday near East 27th Street and 3rd Avenue. Police say as the 26-year-old victim was getting off the elevator, that suspect pulled her back in, hit her in the face, and stole about $25. The suspect then ran off. The victim was hospitalized in stable condition. If you have any information about this person, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. That number is 1-800-577-TIPS.
And finally, leaving the city, the suspected Gilgo Beach killer makes his first appearance in court.
It was a short conference, but it's been a long time coming, as the district attorney put it. It was 13 years ago when the bodies were discovered, and he's handing over 13 years worth of evidence. Accused serial killer Rex Heuermann stood stone-faced in court on Tuesday afternoon, appearing for the first time since he pleaded not guilty to the murders of at least 3 sex workers found buried and bound in burlap sacks along a stretch of Ocean Parkway more than 10 years ago.
We have to show up every day. We have to comply with our discovery requirements, and we'll negotiate the case in good faith with the court and defense counsel and see how it plays out.
Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney, who's prosecuting the case himself, handed over a massive amount of evidence, including 8 terabytes in hard drives, 2,500 pages of documents, photos from this scene, and DNA reports. Heuermann, who wore a dark blazer over a light blue shirt, had a mop of messy hair. He took one big look over his shoulder as he left the courtroom. His attorney, who has been the only one to visit him in jail, says his client is looking forward to his day in court.
There's no plea deal. He said from the moment I met him that I did not do this. So we're prepared to go forward. We will defend this case in a court of law, and we will go to trial in this case.
Family members of the victim showed up in court. There was no sign of Asa Ellerup, Huerman's estranged wife, who told reporters she was, quote, blindsided by the arrest, and she had no idea about the double life Huerman allegedly led. She was forced out of her home while investigators searched for evidence to build the case against Huerman. She called the condition in which it was left uninhabitable, saying police pulled apart their bathtub and left piles of boxes scattered about. And now we're told a press conference is expected sometime this week with Ellerup, that's Huerman's estranged wife. Now, as for the fourth victim, we're told that investigation is ongoing. Huerman is due back in court on September 27th.
And that's this week's Crime in the City. Subscribe for more at youtube.com/Fox5NY.